What I like to see it more as a metaphor that each one of us in that room is a separate root, and we come together into one common trunk and become that team.
Welcome everybody. This is very exciting and it's a real privilege to be here with all of you. It's kind of amazing to have so many people from so many places in the one room. And anything could happen in this room over the next couple of weeks. These projects are really amazing and they're chaotic and they're crazy and no one knows what's going to happen. But Michael Cullen's going to take us through the first steps on the route.
I also want to say welcome, and what I like to do and what kind of makes things a bit nerve-wracking is to keep it very chaotic at the beginning with no constraints.
Michael called back and said, is there any way we could just do the collaborative project? So I spoke to some more people on campus and we got their blessing, and it's just been a wonderful thing to share.
This year we're at this wonderful campus in Cerritos. They have all the equipment we could think of. We have lovely timber and we're going to an amazing venue. So the challenge this year is extremely different to the challenge last year.
The advantage of no equipment was our work was approached differently. Here we have an amazing inventory of machinery. I think there's a risk in what we make becoming the result of a convenient method of manufacture.
This year, we're in Los Angeles. We have everything. Anything we want, we have, and we have electricity all the time. But that's going to have a certain effect on the project. It's going to make it different, not better, but different.
Our biggest challenge with this project is to get 20 individuals to think as a group, as a team. Well, what I see in that room behind me is such great potential. We have a really strong team. We have 20 members from 14 different countries to work together to a single goal. The collaboration specifically is that we face the challenge of where we are and the space we are and what we're given to work with.
We're not individuals working here, that we're collaborators. That's the key, collaborators.
Very delicate.
And we've got some really good stuff. Stuff that's very suited to furniture makers and stuff that's amazing for carvers. Some really nice, big, chunky stuff that carves really well. And it's all California wood. It's all local. It all comes from right here. So we also have this beast right here. We're not going to put that up right at this moment.
That is air dried. That is still wet.
Yeah. Okay, is everybody ready? Yep. Roots can mean many things. So keep that idea open. I love the idea that we're all a single root that feeds this one tree and makes it strong.
So I think we have to do something, but when people go through, he feels comfortable.
I'm thinking of having like patterns and textures that many of you are so good at. So like maybe from bottom to top or whatever it is. So not like sculpting leaves or something like that.
Let's find the aesthetic that's proper and not for the space, for the object itself.
We could also, make the panels just coopered. We could make the whole thing coopered, but then you couldn't see through it. But having them, at least some of them separate, adds a lot of room for playing with negative space.
We broke up to 4 groups of whatever, 5, something like that, and started designing models that about the actual piece is going to be. Then we broke up into 2 groups, and then then we were all in together on one group, and that process helped.
These 2 design days are hell every year. They're exhausting. We feel like we're pitching battle with each other. You're using your brains constantly, and it's really weird.
In between the cherry panels is you know, this is the big natural piece, and then using some of the other the bigger slabs.
And for me, it's a symbol of life. Everything begins with a seed, like humans, nature, plants, everything.
Ce qui est très important pour moi un peu.
He doesn't want to go on the Babel Tower. He wants to think about the spiral, which is the beginning of every life.
And we can make it all of them different, and it looks like a roots. Take out the branches. Branches is not the term, it's roots. So we can do the roots as a basis.
And the bases could be all the same, exactly the same size, but sculpted.
We can make burning those bases and shaping like a roots. We can give the idea that the roots
Only talking about that for that, to have it have a heavier look, because this is what it will look like.
It's really hard when you have 20 voices all talking at the same time. So sometimes it's nice to just let a couple people speak, and Killian pointed that out, and then when it's your time, you'll know, and you can say something then.
Whatever the structure is, whatever the elements are, it'll be only carved on the edge. You know, like almost make it like a hidden thing. It gives you less to do, but you can still, then you can do really great detail work.
Let's start off with the easy one. Is everybody in agreement that it should be vertical panels? Yes?
The base becomes an issue. If you weren't going to walk through that, then joining those two together in a really simple form would make that indestructible sort of thing, but it stops people from walking through it.
Why not start by 3? And if we have enough food, and if make 5 and then 8. And
3 is an absolute minimum, but I think 5 really will work well.
I don't know, but maybe 3 big ones, like maybe like double, might be big enough to make something, you know,
3 big
that we can see from far away, and we can move around.
3 joined together like that, and 2 narrow at the smaller one.
Is everybody in agreement that it'll be primarily made out of cherry, and that separate chunk, that monolith of oak, is not going to be involved in the design? It'll be separate. What are your thoughts, Allison? Shape, number, layout?
I feel like if they're all constructed like similarly, then yeah, we could make some of them organic. Like say we make them all that way on the back, and then that some of them get rounded over and pierced, and some of them don't, I guess. But it does seem like it'd be a little bit of mixing.
As if we did like separate pieces, but they all to go together as a family. We got to set how many we're going to make, what those shapes are. We got to really bring it together.
But as soon as you start, you know, you will come to a next piece of wood, next piece of wood. That's how it works. And in the end, it will all present itself to you.
Yeah, I think that's quite fun that they brainstorm, and then a lot of new ideas, and then some bubbling, you know. It's quite active in the whole room.
So we need, all of us need to shine. And what we really need right now, I hate giving these kind of pep talks, by the way, but we need a model. We need something that is really dialed in by 5 o'clock. So don't worry about all that root stuff and all that clay. Structure, 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 form, form, form.
And the rows, the circular carvers, like a sunburst outside it. So that's the angle.
Very honestly, my first 2 days was probably the hardest day in my whole entire life I've ever worked with anyone.
I'm out of my comfort zone. The first 2 or 3 days, I had to keep looking to say, am I at Cerritos? Am I really in my shop, or in our shop?
If you're feeling comfortable in this process, then you're not collaborating. That's not why we're here. We're not here to do what we normally do. We're here to do something that's completely different.
The second day of the design process, and we had 2 hours left, and our design had not come together. It was at this point where I had to give this pep talk that we need to get this done, and it has to look like something because it has to be a celebration of like bringing a cake to a party. But within 20 minutes, I think it was, I stepped back in the room and that was our design. It was perfect. It was so well drawn and created, modeled. Everything was there that we needed to know. And at that moment, I knew we had a path.
Before we talk about all the logistics, about who's going to be on what team, what I'd really like to say is thank you all. Thank you very much.
After working with the group for a while, I realized, I can trust other people.
I think we have to let go of our ego thing. And that's the biggest thing of a project like this. You have to let go of it.
Double.
XL?
Double.
When he gave us the t-shirts yesterday, that meant a lot to me, and it's just an honor to be here. And I don't want to leave my mark, I want to leave ours.
We're gonna go over you. Are you ready?
That's nice.
These holes here up with the roots from the other side. So we talk about the design of this, if it's possible to make it.
Many holes there and less just the holes there too many things. It gives lights.
Yes, we have to.
It gives less weight.
Okay,
So
I agree with the holes. I'm not against the holes, but I don't like all of this.
It's too much.
It's too much.
The intention, I guess, remains the same, that the inside face of this remains flat.
And then we maybe think about something simple and elegant, because the wood is too beautiful to make a lot of things on it. So we're thinking about make more structural leaves and line in the elite with that. So we have these little models and we are working on it to make a 3D. We will come to the next one.
Trust each other here, because we can't all be 20 people around a table on every decision now.
يعني هي نفسها تولي جذور ومنها العمل يلف.
The same lines will become roots and then the work, the artwork,
يعني يثبت أكثر.
It becomes more stable and more one unit.
Are we all happy that that's the way this is going to go? Right, we're going to go in and look at what hey, hold your applause.
Donc nous sommes là et nous oublions nos égos de ce que nous savons faire. Là, nous sommes là et que chacun apporte son idée. Et ensuite, ce qui est très important, c'est qu'on nous laisse le choix, cette liberté de chercher à créer quelque chose avec les idées assemblées de tout chacun de nous.
But I think this is your initial starting point, that you blank that out to look something like this. So rough it up, chainsaw, start doing this, and then you decide.
We had my team were working on this part. It's like a seed. We say it's a seed. Goes with the theme roots. But once we collaborate on it and got everybody to agree, oof, it looks pretty good to me. And I'm glad I actually listened to some of their ideas and they listened to some of mine.
So far, I was working on making the bases, which is very just similar to what I usually do, and there's a lot of figuring out numbers and dimensions and constructing something more rectilinear, and I think now there are more challenges going on.
We're underway now, and that's a wonderful feeling. And just as the time ticks by, my job gets easier and easier, and we're going to come the 24th when we officially finish. We're going to have this wonderful creation that, you know, it's going to be nothing like we've talked about this morning. It's definitely going to be a different thing, but it'll be something super.
Maybe from here,
exactly.
and make it here.
That's what I would suggest.
So-
Yeah, because that saber saw.
He said that putting some wood, like here, if we want some relief, and I told him that maybe there was an idea to put some wood here, near the panel.
On top of the roots, some of those leaves that there, you know, those sections that we cut out, imagine those are still in the sky somewhere. They're floating up in heaven. And then when we build this, those all come down and then one just falls right here. And it gets carved into this beautiful leaf or into some kind of insect.
Blade's gone even way off on the angle of that there as well. It's not even a 90-degree plus. Yeah. Just when you're working, don't get so focused on what you're doing that you forget about everybody else. Do take time to see what everybody else is doing, because every element is part of our projects.
How does everyone feel about taking the project this direction? If you feel this is a good direction to go in, raise your hand.
Does everyone understand the question?
Are we in agreement? Yes? Hands up. One design.
One composition.
One team.
One team collaboration.
When we all got together and voted on the design, we all kind of wanted it to feel like a forest. And not a real forest, but you get that feel like it's a forest.
There's lots of small tweaking and small adjustments, and this is where 3 or 4 people might move to the side and concentrate on one area, and then another 2 or 3 might concentrate on another area. And because during this process we're building up a trust of each other's skills.
And we've built them up, carved them to look somewhat like roots. Every one of those tops is different, as is the panel that will fit in the slot. And they have been burned, and some people will call that therming, which creates it looking dark, but it allows you to scrub through the material and create a texture that is based on the grain structure of the wood. We've now sculpted that edge that is the overhang on each top, and then we will burn the bases to match that. So it'll be sort of a transition of a clean line to an organic line and then back to a clean line, which I think will work pretty well.
As we all know, it's our last day in the workshop here. I want to thank Tony for accommodating us here and everything he's done while we've been here. And we couldn't have done this project without him, so thank you very much, Tony.
Tomorrow we go to Long Beach, and we will meet many other people who are already know.
Put one together, panel in, make sure everything works, take it apart, burn the base, fine-tune the top, and then move to the next one. And do that for the rest of today so that we know everything will work when we get to the convention center.
The team worked really hard to get to the point which was necessary when we moved, that we could finish it on site here. So we got all the heavy machining done, all the kind of heavier work was done on site in Cerritos, and what we have here now is much more hand tooling, cleaning up the lines. It's a very delicate carvings on the big panels we have, so they're very fine lines, so it takes a lot of fine, close work to get them really perfect, or as close to perfect as we can here.
There was a lot of sanding that went on, and just to see it all up at once was a big accomplishment as a group.
Always interesting, you're working with the piece on the ground. All we've got to look at are the models, so we know what they're like, what the finished piece is going to look like, but you don't realise the scale until you actually get them up and see them in a space of that size.
Now we've gone through from Ireland to China, Turkey, Nepal last year, so we've had 4 collaborations. So we have a piece of wood from each of those collaborations, and we've set it a little square just in one side of the panel, slightly hidden. It's not overt, it's not like a big statement. A kind of a continuation. We get so much out of them that we like to just carry that through, and as a reminder that it's not just this individual. We've learned from previous projects, and we're sharing what we've learned on those previous projects to the new people on these ones. And
I like that everyone has a say in the project. Not only because they don't speak English or vice versa, we be quiet. Everybody has a voice, which I really enjoy.
You've seen some very simple people come up with amazing work that just blow you away. You're like, how did he do that? Can you show me?
When we got the first panel standing, it was exciting, and it made me more motivated to get the other ones done and standing, just so we can see them up. It's already kind of changing the space in the convention center by having, you know, something vertical that's standing taller than the rest of the crowd. It looks really cool. When people walk through the installation, I hope that they feel exhilarated and maybe have an appreciation for nature and wood, because obviously that's, you know, what the inspiration is behind the sculpture.
And then we brought them a little bit closer and changed the arc, and then suddenly there was this connection. They went from like individual trees to a forest. So they became this group of pieces. And then all of a sudden, over time, we started to connect with each other.
If you put it at an angle, you can almost feel the lights coming down through the branches of the forest, and then touching the roots of the plant around you. It's gonna make you feel like you're walking in a forest. Basically, wood brings them together.
Important thing is let an open door to the other person to see something different.
But I think with having these large vertical pieces in an urban environment, an urban setting, can offer maybe a similar serenity that you would find in a forest, a place that you feel comfortable in, and a place that you would maybe want to pause for a moment and reflect.
It was a good thing just to take a break, put your tools, and you go walk around for, you know, a quiet moment to listen to music. And then if you want to go to the sculpture or carvers, you can go and, you know, have a cut with all you're making.
So it's really going to change my work, being involved with the collaborative project, and as well being here at World Wood Day.
And seeing all the other people working here, it's a lot of energy, and it's a lot of fun. It makes me want to get our project done though, so I can visit more with the other people and watch more of the programs.
Well, I feel these last 2 weeks, I've been able to go all over the world without having to leave. And it's almost like I'm spoiled because the world came to me, and they came to visit me at my shop, and they're here at World Wood Day, and to hear the different music.
In all these years of carving, I never thought of doing something like this, you know? Something so simple and unique, and yet something so small but it can take you in.
الجذور هي الأصول، اللغة، المعتقدات، العائلة، الثقافات اجتمعت من أنحاء العالم واتفقنا على فكرة جسدت في عمل تجريدي متكامل وقوي.
I think the connection, the bond from this is what's so magical, and these last 2 weeks have been some of the best I've ever had. I mean, it's been amazing.
amazing.
To me, the wood is still alive, and even when a tree falls, this is what I do back home. Everyone says it's dead, and I don't believe so. It's my job to bring it back to life with what I do with my hands.
Once the piece was all together and that everybody was assembled and started to turn to each other, and everyone started shaking each other's hands and embracing, giving each other hugs, it was a very emotional moment for me.
So it's hard to believe that it was only 2 weeks ago when we started this project, when the whole team sat down together for the first time in Cerritos College. But then I was watching everyone, they were celebrating, and I realized how much it meant to everybody.
It's like that whole project pull us together like into one. That's our very roots. All our effort and everything was put into that project that it became so solid. It's like a root. It pulled us, we didn't even have to talk. We know it connected us to one single tree.